Hi, welcome back to the Marketing Life Coach Show, The Marketing Life. We're here to help you live well, market you and your business so that you can grow your business. We come your way every week on the Bits on the Wire studio production floor to help you figure out how you can better market yourself. Today I'm going to ask you a rather provocative question. Could it be that your marketing is nothing more than a dead tree? Here we go again. Could it be that your marketing is nothing more than a dead tree? Now I'm going to talk about a restaurant experience gone bad, but it turned out beautiful. Then I'm going to ask you to think about going to a great movie and then perhaps challenge yourself to say, what is the one thing I can do to help my clients in 2011? All of that's coming up, so you stay tuned. It's Marketing Life and You. One of the great truths of life is that the best have coaches. Whether you are involved in athletics, perhaps drama, sales and marketing, whatever you're trying to be really good at, it helps to have a coach or mentor to help you perform at your very best. And from time to time on the Marketing Life Coach, not only am I auditioning to be your coach for your life, your marketing, your business, but I will introduce to you some of those people who are coaching me. Truly, the best have a coach. Now, sometimes these people are not personal friends to me. They're people I've learned from. The legendary broadcaster Earl Nightingale has challenged and changed my life at a distance. Peter Drucker, the legendary management consultant, I still remember that Forbes magazine cover where it seems that he kind of leans forward and I can almost hear him in his kind of German accented voice saying, "Everything you have learned about business is wrong." And he was challenging us with the idea that doing business in the 21st century might take some new ideas and some new ways of thinking. Another guy who's really helped me is someone who has a matching haircut. His name is Seth Godin. Perhaps he's familiar to many of you, and you can Google Seth Godin and find out many of the things he has done. A legendary leader, a real guru in the fields of marketing and in leadership and doing work that matters. I love that expression, doing work that makes a difference, work that matters. A number of years ago, I was reading Seth's blog and he had an interesting comment. He made the comment like this: "Dead tree marketing is dying." And I'd never heard that expression before. Dead tree marketing is dying. Well, I kind of put up one more notch, and this is not him, it's more me. I simply said, you know what? Dead tree marketing is dead. And I'm going to challenge you in the next 10 minutes to think about that. Dead tree marketing is dead. And could your marketing be nothing more than a dead tree? And what are you going to do about that? Now, in my own business, I've got lots of dead trees. Now, I have a very nice, expensive folder here. You see this? And I've got flyers that I put out. And I have a nice, you know what? I have lots of marketing. It's paper. It's a dead tree. Now, it's a pretty dead tree. It's an expensive dead tree. But you know what? It's a dead tree. Here's my book. Now, my book's a nice book, and it's a 4-color dead tree. It's got lots of good material in it. But you know what is also true? My book is a dead tree. Now, I'm going to ask you this question as you see the show and hopefully feel a little bit of the energy. Do you think you can get me on a dead tree? Can you get you on a dead tree? I'm convinced that dead trees, whether they be newspapers, magazines, books, all kinds of things that we have traditionally used. And particularly for those of you in the financial services, we have brochures and flyers and illustrations. We're just full of dead trees. We have killed millions of those fine trees to create flyers, brochures, magazines, newspapers. Now, I'm not saying that all of that stuff is going to go away. Certainly, magazines and newspapers and books are emerging, but they're changing. We all know, perhaps we got a Kindle. Look what that is doing to the dead tree books. We all know what Craigslist and eBay is doing to the classified sections of many of the modern American newspapers. We know what 24/7 and the internet is doing as people get their information not from a piece of paper, not from a book, but they get it just as you're getting it right now. As you sit by your computer, sit by some other fairly sophisticated electronic device you have, and you get your information. You get the things you want to know. You tell your story, or someone tells you their story, and they don't use a dead tree. Now, let me tell you why I say it's dead. First of all, even though I write books, and I've written just another book, just finished it up this past weekend, please keep in mind that no matter how nice that book, there's no personality. There's no energy. It's just that. It's words on a piece of paper. There's no immediacy. Now, just to give you an example, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you a story, a very striking story about something that happened to me in a restaurant. And I can tell it to you right now. I don't have to write it up, print it up, proof it. I can simply walk here into this great, wonderful little studio in Tucson, Arizona, and I can, with energy and personality, with high-def stuff behind me, with people helping me create that show, I can make it right now. I can change my story. I can add to my story. I can build something right now. I can speak, as we say, right to the moment. And you can't do that with a book or a brochure or a flyer. All of those are things that had to be produced some time ago. They can't be live. They can't be meaningful today, right now. I've also discovered this. If it's important, it needs to be heard. You know, it's not just writing and reading a story that makes storytelling so powerful. It's actually hearing the story. We are more and more discovering that if you want people to take action, it is not necessarily what they read. It is not even what they see, it's what they hear. Isn't it interesting that when we first began to do our websites, they were full of text. And now we're discovering that the effective website is full of video, like this one, is full of energy, personality. We may have written words and we may have text, but what we more and more are aware of, if you want someone to really remember something, they have to hear it. And if you want to affect people's behavior, it's not what they read, it is truly very, very much what they hear. Now, these are all of many ideas as to why I'm just simply saying to you, could it be? And now, look at your desk. Look at the things your company or you pass out. You're probably aware right there that you are full of dead tree marketing ideas and dead tree marketing things and stuff. Also, a brief story. One of my clients told me this, that what really changed his insurance business is one day he had a recommendation to a very, very significant prospect, a client, a businessman in his community. And so after using that strong recommended name, he had an appointment. He got all ready with his flyers and brochures and illustrations and all of that good stuff, all of that good dead tree stuff. I called on the man and found out that he was blind. And there he discovered that all of that dead tree stuff was no longer helpful to him. And he said, what made me a great salesperson and what has been the secret of success in my investment and insurance career is I had to understand that the best kind of marketing is when I was very present, listening, and sharing stories. And I don't share a lot of dead tree stuff. I primarily share myself, my stories, and I listen to their stories and seek to understand and to hear what they want. Could it be that almost all of our marketing stuff is getting in the way of making the sale because it's a dead tree? Now, finally, could it be that you should not tell people what you do? You should demonstrate how good you are. Now, for emphasis, and with maybe a rising intensity in my voice, can I say that again? Don't tell me what you do. There's a good chance that everybody else in your industry does the same thing you do. Demonstrate to me how good you are. Don't just have a piece of paper that describes you. Demonstrate. Put on a performance. Put on a program. Have a way of showing me. Now, hopefully what I'm doing here is I don't want to talk to you about how I could be a marketing coach to you. What I'm trying to do is demonstrate to you and see if you can understand how I might be helpful to you. I want you to know not what I do, but I hopefully will help you discover, not through a dead tree, not through a flyer, not through a brochure, but through being fully connected to you as best as I can, and I'd love to hear back from you. You will have some demonstration of not only what I do, but am I any good at what I do? Can I truly come into your life and say, my name is Stan Hustad, and I'll help you live well? Market yourself and, in effect, grow your business. And then I would love to add, and I do it well, and I can demonstrate it to you every day. So, just something to think about. As I used to say on radio, let that sit on your head for a while. Could it be that your marketing is nothing more than a dead tree, and you need to think about perhaps an internet TV show? You need to think about ways in which you can put on personal performances so that your marketing is anything but a dead tree. And that's why we call it the marketing life. It's your life, how you live, and how you treat others. And I have a special story to illustrate that, and that's coming up next on Marketing Life Coach. Well, I'm back. Isn't this a great place that I have here, this Marketing Life Coach studio? Again, my good friends at Bits on the Wire in Tucson, Arizona provide this experience for me and for you. And I've got two great guys, Josh and Charles. They're the people who make me look and sound and be better than I am. And please keep in mind, that's what you need to have in your life too. As you're building your business and trying to market yourself, you find coaches and colleagues who can really help you perform at your best and be better than you are. Remember, marketing is not about being yourself. It's being more than who you are. It's being better. It's bringing value and usefulness into people's life. Now, that's why we're here, to help you do just that. And so this is always an audition. We'd love to come and speak and talk to you and your group. Perhaps you'd like to know more about how we could help you. Let me know. Stan at marketinglifecoach.com. Stan at marketinglifecoach.com. And you're going to see on our website some products that are going to be helpful to you. Coaching videos. There you can take one or two subjects and really get good at something. And I'm going to ask you particularly to go to the one where we have a special price, because it's the introductory program. Marketing Life. That's right. Learn how to think differently about your marketing. Truly, as I say, it's not about the paper you push. It's not about the message you put out there. It's how you live your life, how you bring value, and how you treat others. All of that other stuff about marketing can go by the boards. It can be just in the same category as that dead tree stuff. Marketing is about treating other people well. It is about living your life well. It is about making a difference in their life. And that program introduces that thought to you and your colleagues. And I would be grateful if you'd buy it and share it with others and recommend me to others. Well, I have a story to tell you. It happened to me just recently. Again, right to the moment. It's very immediate. I was invited by a couple of friends to go to a nice new restaurant here in Tucson, Arizona, and I'll give them the plug. It was called the Keg Steakhouse. New and nice. I'd never heard of it before, but I said, that'd be great. I love steaks. Well, we walked in and we were greeted, and boy, these people knew something about how to put on a restaurant experience. I soon discovered that they knew marketing is about how you perform. It is understanding that all business is show business. And as I walked into that restaurant and was greeted, I found that I not only had young men and women who were not only waiters and wait persons, they were people who were performers and greeters and welcomers. They, in effect, were performing actors in the best sense of the word, not just table waiters and food servers. We had a great experience. I loved the food. Perfect. Unfortunately, toward the end of the meal, because I'd been fighting a bad cold and I had just come back from the cold of Minnesota and the cold of New York City, I began to feel a little bit queasy in my stomach. And then I felt a little bit flushed. And so I asked to be excused. I thought perhaps I'd go to the restroom break and get caught up and maybe put a little water in my face and figure out why I wasn't feeling very, very good. One of the nice ladies in the restaurant said, I'll show you where to go. And so I was walking down the hallway in this beautiful little restaurant. Then let me tell you, everything went gray. And the next thing I knew, I was on the floor and I was throwing up all over myself. Now, you can imagine what that did to me. You know, I'm a man who wants to keep his dignity, and there I am in a fancy restaurant, passed out, coming to on the floor, and throwing up all over myself. I was so embarrassed. I was so humiliated. I almost started to weep. I felt so bad. Can you imagine my feelings? And I share that story with you because good marketing and good life is sharing stories, even the difficult stories. Well, I came to and got cleaned up. They came to me, these people in this restaurant, and they said, "Sir, are you okay? We're calling 911. And of course, I cried out, being the tough guy, "Oh, don't call 911. He said, "Sir, we have to. We have to protect you, and we have to protect our own liability. They're on the way." Very shortly, the 911 people were there, and they took care of me, took my vital signs, made sure that nothing terribly had gone wrong, and asked me if I wanted to go to the ER room. And I said, "I think I'll be okay." Now, next day I did to make sure everything was okay. But that was the experience that I had. Can you imagine how I felt? Well, the people at the restaurant were so kind to me and so gracious and took my name. And you know what? Just the other day, his name is Paul. He's one of the leaders of the restaurant, calls me up. And this is after they had even helped comp the meal that we had, and simply said, "Stan, we wanted to ask you about that episode at the restaurant. Are you okay? Are you fine? We're concerned about you." You know, I thought, isn't that something else? Marketing is not about putting some flyer in a newspaper. It's how you treat others. And not only did this restaurant have a great restaurant show and experience, but look how they treated me. They didn't make me feel terrible and embarrassed, even though obviously I'd embarrassed myself and certainly inconvenienced them and their situation. But for Paul and his colleagues to call me a few days later and want to know, "How are you? Are you okay?" Now let me tell you something. Some of the best marketing in the world is just asking people you know, "How are you? Are you okay?" And particularly in today's world where there's a lot of distress out there and a lot of people who are wondering, what's going to happen to me? You would be well advised to call clients, colleagues, and prospects, people you know, and just simply say, Happy New Year. How are you? Are you okay? And so I simply say, hats off. Cheers to the wonderful people at the Keg Steakhouse who demonstrated not only do they put on a great show and serve good food, but they understand the new marketing reality is that your marketing is based not necessarily on the product you serve and the show you put on, it's truly how you treat others. So I just thought I'd share that little story with you, and perhaps now, if you think about it, you'll remember that story. It'll come to you. And of course, every time I have that experience with that fine restaurant, I'll remember and I will tell hundreds, as I'm doing right now, perhaps thousands of people, how well I was treated. Is that good marketing? Obviously, the story speaks for itself. And that leads us to just exactly what I just did. I shared a story with you. And now you can share a story with me. And good marketing is not the sharing of dead tree paper stock or brochures. It's when people truly come together and share their story. They share it on the internet. They share it in video or audio programs or in some way coming together. So I simply want you to understand the power of, non-dead tree performance, way you live, way you treat others, marketing. And that's what we're here to help you do and to walk into your life and make that real to you. Now, I'm going to ask just a few more things before we leave. First of all, I'm going to ask you to go see a movie. One of the things I did is to see the movie, The King's Speech. That's right, it's being featured, going to win a number of awards, and it's about a past king of England who gives a speech. Now, I'm actually going to do next week's show on life and marketing lessons from that movie. And in fact, you need to see movies. Please keep in mind that good marketing is talking about the things other people are talking about, connecting your ideas and what you do to what everybody else is talking about. And we'll talk about that next week. So I encourage you, see some good movies. See what makes a good movie, what makes a good story, and then we're going to show you how there are some real marketing life lessons by just simply explaining some of the things that happened in the movie, The King's Speech. So check it out, and next week we'll be talking more about that as we have marketing and life lessons from the movies. Now, finally, fourth and finally, what's the one thing? Right now, I'm discovering that if you want to help people, try and walk into their life, as I'm doing right now. Could you tell me, what would be the one thing that would be most helpful to you in marketing your life and your business right now? I'd like to know what's missing. Instead of saying, here are 100 things I have, or 20 things I'm trying to pitch, or the offer I'm making right now, I would simply like to hear from you. Is there one thing in your life and in your business that if I could help you with, that would be most significant? I'm walking into the lives of many of my clients and companies right now and simply saying to you, I've got a lot of stuff that I could try and pitch you, but can you tell me what would be the one thing that would be most helpful to you right now? Whether I can provide it or not, can you tell me what would be the one thing that could make the most difference in your life and in your business right now? Powerful questions lead to great and precise and powerful marketing. So would you share that with me? Once again, Stan at marketinglifecoach.com. Stan at marketinglifecoach.com. I thank you for your time. I thank you for the energy you give to this. I thank you for recommending this show and this program to others. 2011, let's make it one of the best years ever. And remember, to make it a good year, the best, have a coach. I'm Stan Hustad, your marketing life coach, wishing you best and blessings. And bye for now, because we'll see you next week.